This content was created purely for entertainment and informational purposes. The creators of this vlog do not endorse drinking and driving, debauchery, underage drinking, public intoxication, speeding, street racing or any other form of delinquency. I'm just a guy, with a drink, talking about cars. Please don't take this too seriously.
Welcome back to Cocktails and Crankshafts. I'm here today to talk about my 1/32 Scale Scalextric slot car collection. We'll go through each car and... Okay, jumping right in here in the beginning, I've got my 1986 Rally Monte Carlo set with the Peugeot 205 T16 and the Metro M4R, oh Jesus, I'm going to get it wrong, and the Metro 6R4, which are just two cool cars from the Group B era, and I was happy to get these as a set. I love Group B cars. Up next, Maserati Trofeo. This is one of the more modern cars. I did get a handful of modern cars, but most of my collection are from the 80s, actually, or they're 80s cars. They're modern slot cars, but 80s vintage designs. Okay, here we go. The first of the Group A cars. This is a Ford Sierra RS500 road racer, probably from the British Touring Car Championship, which means it was probably a Group A spec car, but this car was also used in rallying. And another Ford Sierra, because if you got one, you got to have two. BTCC races back in those days would usually have a bunch of Sierras in them. Up next, MG6. And this is a modern car, and I got it just because I needed to have a handful of modern touring cars so that I can match race cars from the same era. And now the sexy stuff, the McLaren F1 GTR. I actually have a pair of these. This is in the Gulf colors. I'm not sure what year Le Mans 24 this would have been, but it doesn't matter. It's a gorgeous car, and I do have two of them because you gotta race like against like, right? Especially in slot car racing. So we also have this Harrods-sponsored F1 GTR, and again, this car is just absolutely beautiful, and I'm happy to have it in my collection. Who else can say they have a pair of McLaren F1s? These things are very rare in real life. Happy to have the plastic version. You can't have race cars without having a Porsche 911. That's a rule somewhere written into German law, I'm pretty sure. And probably British law and American law and Spanish law and French law. You can't have sports car racing without Porsche. It don't go together. Okay, and another Metro 6R4. This one I got loose. And again, I love the Group B era cars, and so I have a couple of different Group B cars in this set. And that's just so I can do some tarmac. I can do a rally stage if I want. I can do a forest rally stage. I can do a tarmac stage. More than likely, they'll just all be going on the road course because I'm not going to buy enough track to actually have 3 or 4 different layouts. And if I could, I don't have a house big enough for that. Lancia Delta S4, one of the Group B cars. And again, I love the Group B era rally cars. And even though these will most likely just be doing road races because I won't have space to have multiple setups, I would love to have a dedicated forest rally stage slot car layout and just have these guys going, trees and towns and the whole shebang. But that's just not reality for me right now. And this is a Holden A9X Carrera. It's a long story about how I ended up with this one. It was just an oddball. That's the best way I could put it. You like a good Australian car every now and again. And Holden, Australia's GM division, produced some really cool racing cars over the years. And this is a very historic and famous one. Boop. E30 BMW M3. This would have been a British touring car, or possibly a Deutsch touring car, and this would have been from the Group A spec era. So the 80s and probably up until about 1990 or so. Good looking car. I'm assuming this is DTM because it's got the Warsteiner sponsorship. Could be wrong about that though. And Aston Martin Vantage GT3 because you got to have some modern cars. And what's cooler in modern endurance racing than Aston Martin? It just looks good. It looks like a sports car is supposed to look. Long hood, short deck, big wing. It's just, it's a sight to behold. Last but certainly not least, the Ford RS200, a Group B era rally car. You know, this is one of those wacky cars from the Group B era that was basically a custom-built sports car with four-wheel drive and a mid-engine, and then designated for rally racing. This car was built from the ground up to be a race car. I think it does have a Sierra windshield in it or a Sierra door or something. They did use a couple production pieces, but it's basically a custom car that they decided would be a rally car. That's the collection. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.